can lean into your own personal discomfort, say what needs to be said in a non-offensive way, the more you make the world a better place.
All right, everyone, we're back. I was away for a week in New York City, delivering training to some of the city's workforce, particularly in the juvenile detention, juvenile justice sector. And it was an absolutely wonderful experience. That's going to inform to some degree our discussion today. Welcome all to Live at 5, which today is at 4 because we had some technical issues yesterday. Couldn't do Live at 5, but I really wanted to address this topic. So welcome all. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Welcome. What to say and not say during conflict. The reason that my experience in New York inspires today's talk, today's live, which is applicable, we like to think, to everyday life. These Tuesday sessions are really designed for anybody who is interested in improving their crisis communication, crisis de-escalation skills. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're at home, and you're having some difficulty in family or in your neighborhood, or if you're in the work setting and your work is not necessarily related to human services, but perhaps there's conflict there that needs to be navigated. If you're just out in community, the supermarket, we're in a world and a dispensation right now where there are lots of angry people everywhere. So these skills are valuable. So much of what we do at Jumpstart emphasizes very concrete instructions on precisely what to do. And very often it's our experience that people come to the training very often with natural talent and experience, as well as habits that have been developed over time and not subject to any professional review, training, or evaluation. And there's no consciousness that the habit could probably be making things worse in the interactions with people. But they don't have knowledge of that because all they had was their natural talent. Natural talent is great. No two ways about it. It makes training a lot easier. At the same time, if natural talent were the prevailing approach to high performance, we wouldn't see much training around. We would just see ways we would individualize support for someone's natural talent, but that's not what we see. There's talent everywhere. There's a lot of talent. That talent is ideally something that is honed and developed and organized into something that's far greater than talent. And that is discernment and wisdom in how to apply the talent. Experience is a invaluable teacher, but it's not the only teacher. There is merit to approaching matters of talent and even matters of the heart with some scientific organization. If you want to make it repeatable, if you want to make it predictable, and most importantly, if you want to make it transferable to others. Some people don't have natural talent in crisis de-escalation. So it can be very helpful for a lot of human beings to hear about what to do and also what to avoid. What are some habits that we have formed in our language when we engage with people that are presenting stress or discontrol that we may be saying habitually and we're not even aware of it, and it makes things worse? This is the phenomena we encounter a lot in the training setting. People who are very experienced saying something that's making things worse and they had no idea that it made things worse. It's just because everybody speaks this way. You ready? I'm going to give you the real low-hanging fruit. If you have to discuss a rule, a policy, a law, an agreement, a value, these are the words that people generally say prior to the rule, policy, law, or value. You ready? Unfortunately, however, but, and then there's also that inflection. The great Tony Blauer would refer to those as verbal pre-contact cues. They're letting you know that something on the horizon is going to block a goal or violate an expectation. Unfortunately, our agreement is this. However, the policy says this. We're not saying don't talk about policies, rules, or shared values. We're saying don't use the words that we generally attach to those things as a transition word, because it lets someone know we have made so many associations to those words of a goal being blocked or a violation of expectation. So if you have to cite a rule, policy, law, or shared value, the recommendation is if you catch yourself saying just curb it. Just say the thing. Our policy is, the rule is, the law states, rather than unfortunately, however, or but. Why is this useful? If someone is in crisis, their limbic system, fight-flight system, emotional arousal is high. Their sensitivity to goals being blocked or expectations being violated is high. Why would we want to use words that would stimulate that further? Unfortunately's, howevers, and buts get people into more trouble than anything else. So that is an easy adjustment that you can make whenever addressing a rule, policy, law, or shared value that needs to be discussed. Let's say an employee of yours is late to work a lot. You know, I've noticed that you've been late to work 10 times in the past month. Unfortunately, the conditions of employment don't allow that. The unfortunately is added unnecessary emotional arousal to the clear, existent, non-debatable policy. I've noticed that you were late to work 10 times in the past month. A condition of employment for all employees is punctuality. Not unfortunately, but our policy is. You would be surprised that in eliminating that, people feel less personally evaluated because they have to square with the fact that there are principles beyond things that I want to live by that I have to abide by in order to get along in the world. Okay. What's some other low-hanging fruit? How often do you end, if you ever need to set a limit with someone, how often do you end the interaction with a description of an undesirable outcome? Look, if you keep yelling at me, I'm going to have to hang up this phone. If you keep using racial slurs in the common area, you're going to get escorted out of here. Sir, if you keep threatening everyone, I'm going to call 911 and you're probably going to be arrested. We're not saying don't say those things, but always follow them with a description of a desirable outcome. Look, if you continue to carry on in the lobby like this, I'm going to call for security. If you can reduce your volume and speak to me in a calmer manner, I'll be happy to try to serve you. Which do you think leads someone to agreement with you more? We can assure you, not opinion, this is in the data. Interactions that end on a description of a desirable outcome influence behavior more and people get punched in the face less. We have this in the data. This isn't subject to opinion anymore. People who describe the desired behavior and a desirable outcome render more influence and get punched in the face less than people who end the interaction on a description of an undesirable outcome. Stop or else, instead of stop or else, do this. Here's what's going to happen that's good. Stop or else. Stop or else. How many times have you seen someone get into a command loop? Put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down. Stop or else is one. Stop, do this is better. In the data, it's no longer debatable. What else not to say? Are you aware of a very popular one? We hear it all the time. We hear it described as we see these kinds of statements in video footage of people engaged in de-escalation. And when people are resistant on the receiving end of it, resistant to this, I'm astonished that it's not clearer to the person saying it. And we'll end on this one today. I need you to back up. I need you to lower your voice. I need you to slow down. What do you generally experience when someone says, I need you to? You need me? What do you need me to do? You need me to do something? As opposed to, I see you, I hear you, I understand you. There's a problem between you and this rule, policy, or law. How about you try this thing? Do you think people are more responsive to I need you to statements or suggestions? How about you try this? How about we do this? If you go do this, then you will be able to. Which one do you think influences behavior more? I think I hear more I need you tos from professionals who, in their duties, have some responsibility to enforce policy, rules, or laws. You know who doesn't say a lot of I need you tos? The behavioral health people. They love to swim in validation. They never get to a rule. Takes like 15 minutes to get there. Now, you need both. You need the validation, and you need to be able to point to the rules. We all need that to move or influence someone. But what's causing someone to move is the invitation for them to choose it themselves rather than you needing them to do it. But it comes so easy to say, look, I need you to put that down and go do your homework. As opposed to, I see you're enjoying your video game. The agreement in our home was that leisure activities are enjoyed after responsibilities are complete. How about you put the controller down, go knock out your homework? That way you can come back here and enjoy the video game later. Yeah, Andy, but that takes too long. Well, I'm not saying it doesn't take longer than I need you to. But which one do you think is more effective in influencing putting the controller down and going to do the homework? Anything that is done by invitation in the data is always more effective in influence than me needing someone else to do something. Yet we do that all the time. So the final recommendation is to modify statements that begin with I need you to and just couch it as a suggestion. If you'd be kind enough to step back just a few paces. It'd be great if you could reduce your volume just a little bit so I could hear you better. Thank you. Instead of, I need you to quiet down. I need you to back up. I need you to slow down. I need you to respect me. Guess what? If you need other people to respect you, you're going to be in a place of suffering for a long time. Wow, that's a bold statement. I don't need anybody to respect me. I have self-respect. I will tolerate only so much disrespect. But my need for someone to do something that they can't do is my problem. My need for it. So I'm going to have to reevaluate my need. I can also manage my needs without requiring other people to constantly adjust themselves. Do you mean to tell me, Andy, that you're willing to tolerate people's bullshit and injustice endlessly without speaking up? No, I'm just not suffering the ridiculousness that my peace is a product of other people's behavior. Because it isn't. I live with suffering and difficulty every day. I can choose to accept that that's the case and decide who I want to be that day, or I can continue drinking the Kool-Aid that I have to run around adjusting everyone's behavior in order for me to be okay. That's exhausting. That burns people out. Not this kid. So, all the best to all of you. I hope these little tips are something that you're willing to try. I think you'll find them incredibly effective immediately upon doing it. And please join us on Thursday at the Jumpstart Mastery Network at jumpstartmastery.com, where our lives are tailored for professionals working in the space of crisis communication, crisis de-escalation. I wish all of you well. Take good care.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
More that you can lean into your own personal discomfort, say what needs to be said in a non-offensive way, the more you make the world a better place.